Yeah, absolutely. So, Baldy, obviously, with that first round selection going to Oregon State and bringing Fuaga here, what have you seen from him and his tape, and what does he bring to the New Orleans Saints offense?
He's a tremendous talent. He's got anvils for hands. He's got real Polynesian power. His feet are in the ground. It's hard to push him around. He hits people. He shocks people. I've seen him just at right tackle now. I don't know that he can't play left tackle. I just haven't seen him play it. I've just watched him this year at right tackle, and you watch him against, the best, the number one defensive player in this draft so far. You watch him against Latu. He didn't have any issue with Latu at all. In fact, when he got a hold of him in the running game, he just ran him right off the screen. But he's a very, very talented player. And I had him, it depends. I thought Joe Alt was the best technician in this draft, and he started for 3 years, and he was at left tackle, and he was heavily recruited. I knew his dad, so I was a little favored towards him. But I think Fuaga, I think he's got more power than Joe. And he might have as much power as J.C. Latham. So he's got real power in the run game. But, when you're just looking at protection and ability just to dance and slide and kick and be consistent, he's up there with the best in this entire draft. And it's been a very good offensive tackle draft.
Right. Can you speak to some of the kind of like nastiness traits that people talk about with him and kind of playing through the whistle with him?
Well, he's a hunter. So, you get him on the backside of these outside zones going the other direction. He's just looking to knock people down. You get him downfield, he's knocking people down. He's a finisher. And so I don't know if he hears a whistle, but he's looking to put people down. He's looking, if this was wrestling, he's looking for 2-point takedowns. So, it's not every play, and he's not trying to do anything dirty or anything like that. But if he can finish a play, he finishes a play. So, it shows up. He's not what Quentin Nelson was coming out of Notre Dame, or what Quentin was like the first 2 years in the league when he was doing that every Sunday. But it's enough to know that, you can see his power, when he starts bending guys backwards and knocking people over the pile. He's got real power, whether he's shocking you with his hands or he's just driving you with his legs.
There's talk about like the outside zone fit there with what with Kubiak coming over from the San Francisco offense and kind of what Saints
look, Clint's offense is it is a symphony, and when it all goes together, it's almost unstoppable. I saw it when his dad was in Baltimore. We've seen it throughout the league. We saw it in Houston. John Benton's the offensive line coach now. He ran that scheme in San Francisco. It's a really effective scheme, but you've got to be able to, you got to get your head to the outside. You got to get these guys moving. It starts right at the point of attack, whether it's inside zone, outside zone, wide zone. You got to be able to move. So I don't know what he ran, 5'1", 40. He moves. Whatever it is, like his first step quickness is right where it needs to be. If he's got to cut off a 3 technique on the backside, I don't think he's going to have a problem digging guys out and be able to run with guys like that. If he's got to get to the second level, on the backside of these zones, like I think he has no problem get to the backside. If he's got to run that defensive end and take him wherever he wants to go, the one thing about Fuaga, you don't see him on the ground. He stays on his feet. He's a good athlete. He's got good balance. There's a lot of guys that have power. There's a lot of guys that weigh a lot. There's a lot of guys that have a good base, but not everybody has great balance. And so I think, one of his good traits is he's got really good balance. And so, if you're running an outside zone and somebody's coming through your inside shoulder and they're going to try and knock you and spin you like a top, you don't see that. You don't see people doing that to him.
Brian, that word symphony you used to describe Clint's offense. What do you mean by that?
Well, it's everything goes together. When the outside zone is working and the play action fakes are going and the defense is responding and you're not sure who has the ball. Is it the back? Is it the quarterback? Is it been given on a fly sweep? It is very, very tough on a defense, especially the linebackers or anybody playing at the second level where they're trying to figure out, because they're taught slow till you know. And so if they're not sure on that mesh, if it's going to the back, we want it to look all the same. We want to hit our spots, as an offensive line, or is it being pulled on a bootleg or some other type of play action? I mean, it's difficult to know, but when it's working, you're going to get big, huge chunks, and you're going to get big play action passes down the field.
Brian, do you have any thoughts on either Eric McCoy or Cesar Ruiz being suited for that system?
Well, I'm biased. I know Cesar really well. We work out together over at the barn, Lane Johnson's house in South Jersey. So there's a big group of us. Cesar's really smart. I think his best position really is center. When McCoy got hurt, he went in and played center. He wasn't given that luxury when he got drafted. They threw him in at guard, but he could run. He had the fracture in his foot. That he had to come back from last year. Looks like he came all the way back just fine. But no, Cesar can run. He can move well. And McCoy's been, outside of the 1 year, he's been really, really durable. So I think both those guys will be fine inside for what they want to do.
Just similarly with getting this new offense here in New Orleans, how do you think it could benefit a guy like Trevor Penning as well?
Well, I think Trevor, he came in, he got hurt. I know Doug really liked him. And I know he worked really hard with him. It just didn't work out. He just couldn't stay in front of his man. He just didn't have good balance. I think this can help him. I think this style can help him. Now, the play action, the run action, some of the stuff can help him. But when it's 3rd and 13, it's 3rd and 13. There's no play action pass for that. There's no Symphony for 3rd and 13. You got to be able to stand up, and you got to be able to stay between your man and the quarterback, and you got to be able to drop an anchor and stop these power rushers. So he's got a long way to go. He has not been good. He has not been consistent. He's got to really work at it. Everybody drops an anchor differently. Some guys do it standing straight up. Some guys got to really get their knees bent, and they got to widen their feet a little bit to get a base. But if they're going to play that position, they got to handle power. And so he's got to get better. It can help him. I think he can help him somewhat. It can hide some flaws, but ultimately you got to be able to stand in there and pass protect against these elite rushers one-on-one, ideally without backs chipping and without slides. You got to be able to stay in there. They drafted him to be that guy. It's not over yet, but here they are back in the draft. Now, Ryan's, had some, he's got some medical issues. I don't know what his status is at this point, but, they need a guy that can come in and play day one. And I know Fuaga can. We got to see if Trevor can handle that. If he can, it certainly makes Hurst and everybody else that's there a whole lot more valuable to their roles.
Brian, one of the things on Fuaga and the evaluation process, they talk about his arm length. Kind of just expound on that. Is that really a big deal, and are people just making it a big deal?
Well, I think he's in the 33 inches. I think he's 33 and a half inches. Ideally, offensive tackles, you like them to be, 34 to 35. When they get to 36, they're in the, the freakazoid range. DeJuan Jones last year had 37-inch arms, and Amarius Mims had really long arms. It doesn't guarantee anything. They said this about, Deion Dawkins, who's been starting at Buffalo now for the last 5 or 6 years, whatever it is now. They can't get him out of there. It can be, it doesn't kill you at all because of how his feet are and how strong he is and how powerful he is. But it is a measurable that is real. Arm length does make a difference. I haven't seen guys just attack his body with shorter arms. He's probably an inch shorter than what, say, a guy like Olu is at Penn State. And some of the other guys, forget about J.C. Latham. He's in that 36-plus inch range. I don't think it should prevent him from being able to play tackle, left or right tackle. I think he's a tackle. If they want to move him in at guard, like I think Fautano probably will go to guard, although I know he can play tackle. He's shorter than Taliese, but I don't think it's a deal breaker at tackle at all, the way that he has played.
Right, I know we talked a bunch about the offensive lineman here, but do you have any thoughts on KoolAid McKinstry, their second round pick?
Well, I thought going into the season last year that Kool-Aid was the number one corner in Alabama. And he still might be. It's just that Terrian was just so good. Kool-Aid didn't have any interceptions this year. Terrian, I think, had 4. He had more action come his way. But the thing that jumped out about Terrian was his tackling and just his overall awareness. But at Kool-Aid, look, everybody gets trained by Nick at Alabama. You want to play corner, you're going to learn how to play press corner. Your hands, your feet, you're going to get trained. And so I don't know if any team played more press man coverage than the Saints did last year, whether it's Marshawn or Alante or, a Debo. They played a lot of press man. And so that's kind of what they want to do. And I think that's what Kool-Aid can do. Like, he can be that guy. I think Alante's been excellent. I think he's got what it takes, but I think Kool-Aid has been trained like that. I have no doubt that he can come in there and play that style of defense that the Saints want to play.
Kool-Aid was almost exclusively an outside or perimeter corner in college. Do you see him holding on to that role in the NFL? Or
I didn't see him play much. He might have played inside. I didn't see it. They usually have their inside-outside guys. I saw Terrian go inside with some elite receivers. I don't remember seeing number 1 Kool-Aid doing that. He might have. I didn't watch every game, but I watched enough of them. It looks like he's an outside guy. He's 6'1" and change. But, look, I think you just you get a young guy like that, you cross-train them to see if they can handle it. Everybody needs a guy that can play inside against these, elite slot receivers and how they're moving receivers around. So I think you got to cross-train him and see how he handles it. I don't have much problem with him going inside against some of these shorter, quicker guys that are in there. You just worry about, can he handle the physicalness, just the blocking, the run, defeating guys in the run game, getting off blocks and making tackles. Obviously you've had some elite guys that, could do that. Malcolm Jenkins comes to mind. You had some elite guys that could play inside like that over the years. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson could play inside, could play that role really good. I don't know if Kool-Aid can or can't. I just haven't seen him do it.
Do you feel that you'd be confident in him, though, on the outside?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I have a lot of confidence in Kool-Aid. I think he probably got taken. Probably, I think he probably held out that he could be a first-round pick. But, where he got taken with you, I think it's a good place to go. I think it plays to his strengths. And I don't have any question that he can play outside, at the NFL level, and the style of play that the Saints like. He should probably line up, in practice right behind Marshawn and see how it's done.
I think it's all we have time for. Coach Allen's head of the press room now. Baldy, really appreciate you.
Okay. Yeah, my pleasure. Yeah, anytime.
Thanks, Baldy. Appreciate you.
Okay. Yep, you bet.